Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gerald Lewis. I'm a boat captain and a fishing coach in Kentucky. Today's video I'm going to go over spinner baits and the things you can do with them at certain times of year. As soon as the water hits 50 degrees, you can start using a spinner bait. My preference for 50-degree water is this one. I like the big blade, the big Colorado, because it gives a lot of vibration. And even in dingy water, those fish can feel it really well. Now, I know a lot of guys prefer to use these other two types, this one and this one, because of the willow leaf. And that's fine and dandy, but I do better, seems like, with the Colorado. And then once the shad are schooling, then I'll switch over to the willow leaves. But what I want to tell you in particular, and I'm going to move these out of the way, is one night and this works every year, in a full moon of June, I was using a spinnerbait with this kind of blade, but it was the white color like this, but I was using that type of blade, and was catching quite a few walleye first, and then the smallmouth started hitting it. And then what I noticed, and I'm going to switch just to the white spinnerbait, and just remember I was using the Colorado blade. What I noticed is when the full moon was out, they was hitting this. But when the full moon was covered up by clouds, they was hitting that. And so I would switch back and forth between these two baits, and caught. I had 18 smallmouth and I had 7 or 8 walleye that night. I don't remember the exact number. But all those were keepers. They were really good fish, and that's what I was doing, was alternating back and forth. And so when you're out fishing, you need to really focus on what's going on around you, what the weather conditions are, what type of moon phase you're in. That all plays into it. But I also wanted to show you something I do to a spinnerbait every once in a while. And if you notice, this is just the end I cut off of a lizard. It's a little chartreuse pepper lizard. What I discovered one time was I had a grub tied on a spinnerbait and was throwing it when I was getting hit, but they really wasn't taking. So I cut the tail off the spinnerbait and they started hitting better. Well, as I kept progressing during the fishing trip, I finally cut the chartreuse down to no more than that. And what I done was I slid that on the bait, and it was a white spinnerbait, and I slid it all the way up like that. And all you could see was that little bitty bit of chartreuse in there. The fish went crazy over it. I mean, I was catching. I won't say every cast, because you know that's almost an impossibility. But the catch ratio went up significantly just by making that little change, and that thing wasn't much more than the size of an aspirin. But it made a huge difference. So I learned a lot about using the grub on a spinnerbait anyways, but to make the adjustment like that took me a few minutes to figure it out, but that's the way they wanted it. And so that year, when the spinnerbait bite got tough, I started cutting those baits down till I figured out how short they actually wanted. And it's just, like I said, not much more than the size of an aspirin, but they really liked it. So I thought I'd pass that information on to you. Here's a product that I like to use on my spinner baits, and all baits in particular, is Bang. I use different flavors on the baits that I throw, and I like to use the dye pens, as you know. I like to use different colors. So I wanted to pass that information on to you about spinner baits and how things work for me, and maybe that'll help you in your fishing. And also, before I close the video, I wanted to show you this plant. This was sent to us today by the farmer's dog after the loss of our pup. And she was 13 years old. Her name was Mary, but I called her Moo Moo. And so today, we got this in the mail. We didn't know what it was. Actually, UPS delivered it. I didn't have any idea because I knew I hadn't ordered anything, but farmer's dog sent that to us. And I just wanted to send out a special thank you to them and anybody associated and affiliated with them. Thank you again. Have a good day.